Hey guys, Maya here. Welcome back to Refuge Farm. Sorry for the overexposed picture, but I'm pretty excited about the sun being out. We've been locked up for a couple of days. All progress on all projects has been halted. We've been itching to get back out here and get progress done on the greenhouse, and I would love to be doing that right now. However, we have a problem. So I've got to shift my focus today to address the problem. And hopefully I can get it done fast enough to be able to get back to the greenhouse and get some more done. You know, the most immediate need gets the attention, and this one for me is very immediate. What are you guys doing?
We're just playing on the trampoline.
The problem we're having today that's been elevated over the greenhouse for the time being is a hay problem. We used to put out big round bales, the same round bales that we used to feed our horses that we no longer have to feed because they've got the 90 acres now. We would put one of those out and we would wrap a cattle panel around it, and that would last the goats, the whole herd, you know, 30 days, if not longer. And in the summer, that was no problem. It was going very well. I was very pleased with my idea, and it is actually pretty effective. However, towards the fall, around the time that we were going to HOA, they weren't going through it as fast. It was starting to get more wet. And what happened is the inner part of the bale towards the later half of the month started to mold. Got a couple of our goat kids sick. If you guys have been with us at all, Ducky that's actually how she got sick, was that hay while I was out of town. And so when I got back, I cleaned it all out and we stopped putting out the round bales, which means we started buying square bales of hay. This has been going on for a few months now. I mean, ever since like September, October. And the reason it's been bumped to the top of the list now is because in central Arkansas, there's a huge shortage in square bale hay. Our local feed store is completely out. They won't get any more back in stock until they cut hay again, which is going to be April, May. Then I had another source in Conway. They just ran out. Luckily, I was able to find a limited supply at the Farmers Co-op in Conway, so I bought 6 bales and knew that this was going to be the last 6 bales I might get access to for the rest of the season, and so I really needed to address the problem. This is what we call a square bale. It's, I don't know, I'm not good at guessing numbers. My guess is this is probably 40 or 50 pounds. This is a standard size, a square bale. This lasts our herd of goats roughly a day, day and a half. It's $8.25. Now this is about an 800-pound, 5-foot tall round bale, and that's just one of the sizes that they make as far as a baler. We actually got these in trade. These will roughly cost in our area about $40 per bale. Now this bad boy is about 5.5 feet tall, and it weighs about 1,300 pounds. This is the round bales that we've been getting to feed the horses, and I've got one left from when they were staying over here at this other property. The contraption I'm going to build to keep the hay from getting wet and keep it safe for the goats, I'm going to build it to hold this size bale. This is about $60. It's really high quality, but the thing about it being high quality is that the goats go through it a lot slower, which means that it lasts a lot longer. So if I can solve the moisture issue, then this is going to be the most cost-effective way to give our goats really high quality hay and help them stay healthy. Because whenever we were in the middle of summer and we had these out there, man, that's when our herd honestly looked the best. Everyone was the most healthy. So I want to get back to that. And because the square bales are now in shortage, I know I can get some more of these. And honestly, with what I have left right now, I think I can probably, this will probably get us through until they start cutting hay again. So that $60 bale will last us, like I said, 30 days or more. Whereas a square bale lasts us 1 day. $60 for that, $8.25 for the square bale. And you can do the math and realize that the square bales are not cost effective. There are a few obstacles that I need to consider when I'm trying to come up with a solution. The first is I gotta keep the round bale up off the ground so ground moisture and the runoff don't soak it and cause it to mold from the bottom. I've also gotta cover the top so that way the rain itself doesn't start it molding from the top down. The other obstacle that I had to problem solve around is the fact that our tractor doesn't have enough horsepower to pick up the round bales and set them in something. If that was the case, they make things out of welded metal at feed stores that I could just pick up and set the round bale in and problem solved, other than figuring out how to cover it. So without being able to pick it up, I had to figure out how I was gonna keep it up off the ground, but not lift it. All right, let's get started and I'll show you guys what I came up with to fix this. So some of the materials we're gonna use is part of my clearance lumber, which is that decking, that 5/8 inch treated deck planking. And I'm also going to be utilizing 4 fence posts. They're 4-inch fence posts, and those are going to be operating as corners. I could have used 4x4s, but I didn't have any, and I wanted to utilize something that I had on the farm, and these treated fence posts will get the job done. So step 1 in the Roots and Refuge, Maya's hay round bale keeper dryer. Yeah, it's a bad name, I know. I don't know what else to call it. Anyways, step 1 is to build a platform. I'm going to build a platform that has a small ramp going up to it that will allow the tractor to push the hay bale, since it can't lift it, onto the platform. The platform will keep it dry and keep it from molding. To accomplish that, I'm actually going to concrete those 4 round fence posts in at 5.5 feet apart. That gives me a few inches on each side of the round bale to play with, so I don't, you know, break something while loading it. And that will give me a good half circle for the cattle panel to wrap around and give the goats access to the hay. So to do that, I'm going to dig my holes, and I'm not going to run strings and batter boards to make sure it's perfectly square. I'm just going to take it off a measurement, so it might be a little cattywampus, but that's okay. It's just a hay keeper dryer thing, right? No big deal. I'm a little out of breath because I dug these holes by hand, and I don't care how young you are or strong you are, digging holes with a post hole digger by hand is hard work. So, set this right here for a second. Okay, so now that my holes are done, I'm gonna go ahead and concrete them. Once I get them concreted and set up a little bit, I'll probably start cutting away some of the wire, and I'll cut away enough of the wire fence to be able to build the base. I won't completely take the wire fence out because I'm not ready for the goats to have just a open door to run out and do whatever they want, because they will. So behind me, I've got all 4 of the posts concreted, plumbed, measured out, and they look good. I actually decided that I'm gonna stop on this project for the day. I'm gonna let the concrete set before I go ahead and start nailing and screwing things to this tomorrow. So I let these set up. I'm gonna go put as much time as I can on the greenhouse before it gets too dark to see. And so I'll be back tomorrow, guys. Okay. We're back. It's been a couple of days of non-stop raining and getting nothing done outside. But as you can see again, we've got the sun. It's in the mid-50s, so I've got a tank top on again. Welcome to Arkansas. It's just how it goes. Back to trying to push to get the hay contraption finished. So let's get back to it. Alright, so all 4 posts are now completely set. I had come out before it started raining and was going to try and make some progress on this. I had about 2 hours before the rain started, and for whatever reason the post concrete hadn't set up yet, which I'm not 100% sure why. It's just normal 80-pound quickcrete. Usually that sets up pretty quick, especially overnight. For whatever reason it didn't, but it's set up now, so I'm gonna move forward. Okay, so I got my measurement for my 4x4. As you can see, it's sitting flush to the outside. The reason I put it on the front side of the post is that way whenever the tractor's pushing the hay up, the 4x4 is pressing against the post. Whereas if I'd stuck it on the other side, the pressure from the tractor pushing the hay bale up would have been on the screws. Back, I just did a 2x4. I also put it on the inside to press against the posts that are concreted as everything is pushing this way. Then I got measurements for a 2x4 on each side. So everything is kind of building on itself on keeping the pressure on the concreted post rather than on anything else. The reason I'm doing a box like this is because I'm going to cover this with the treated decking that I got on the clearance bin of Home Depot. And that'll give me the platform that keeps the hay up off of the ground. So I've been using screws to assemble everything because screws hold longer, have a higher breaking point than nails, and a lot of times nails can be pulled out, whereas screws, to get them out, most of the time you have to break them. This is the screw most commonly used on our farm. It is a Deckmate exterior 3-inch coated. So it's got a really high breaking point, and it's got a star head for good grip whenever you're sinking them down. And if you have to get them, if you have to reverse them, it's good. Phillips heads, I don't use Phillips heads anymore unless I absolutely have to, because getting them in and out of stuff is a nightmare. These are a little bit more expensive, but honestly they last longer and they're just better. So I'm gonna go screw everything on our frame, just the box frame, together. For the front side 2x4, I'm gonna screw from the 2x4 into the side of the post. On the back side, I'm actually gonna scoot them over a little bit so I can angle some screws in right here and secure it this way. Got the box all screwed together, and now I'm gonna take a measurement from left to right for my decking. I'm gonna run my decking this way. So technically that's north, behind you is south, this is east-west. So however you wanna figure it out, I'm running it this way. So the official way you describe that. When I take my measurement, I'm going to go all the way to the outside and let the planking overhang a little bit when I build the deck. So that looks like 79. Almost made a pretty big mistake. I started getting the decking down and realized I forgot something. As you can see, there's a new beam running down the middle. As I was putting the decking on, I realized I forgot to put in a middle support. With the amount of weight that we're going to be putting on this with the hay bales, the decking would bow. It wouldn't break, but it would definitely bow and sag, and it just wouldn't be very strong. I just split the difference down the middle and ran a middle support beam, and that'll help make it sturdy, and it shouldn't have any problems after that. I'm glad that I caught that now on my first piece of decking, rather than getting it all installed and realizing I have to take it all off and put in a middle support beam. So good to go. We're gonna keep rolling. Got all the decking done, and I think the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the fence section so that way I can put in the cattle panel. So after I finish all that, the most creative and outside the box thinking for this whole project is how I'm going to cover it. But to find out what I'm using for that, you're going to have to watch till the end. Hey Benny, say hi to everybody.
Hey.
There's Benny, and oh, guess what? Kid and George showed up. Actually, he's been here the whole time. I'll be securing the fence to the post and the cattle panel to the post using 1.5" fencing staples. Fence is cut. I wrapped it around the post, secured it, and my cattle panel's in. I secured it to the post, and I also ran some staples on the bottom for it to keep its shape. Essentially how this was supposed to work, and you know, I could epically fail our big hay bales should slide right into that, and the cattle panel will act as a barrier to reduce the waste. So I got the ramp done. I'll just show it to you real quick and just talk real briefly about how I assembled it, how I came up with it. It's pretty basic. So these are the scrap pieces from the decking boards that we cut. As you can see, the goats are like, what the heck is this new contraption? Maggie's kids are like, my favorite place to hang out. They have no idea how much they're going to love it when the hay's in there. Back to the ramp. The bottom side I cut at a 45-degree angle, which you can kind of get a good eye right there. See how it's cut at a 45? And the top side I actually left square. And the reason I left the top side square is that as I'm pushing the hay up on it, the square edge gives me more contact with the decking that's screwed down, so that'll be more sturdy. And I did the 45 on the bottom, so that way the hay doesn't catch it on its way up. So this should work fairly smoothly. It could go completely wrong. A couple more things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and run some 2x4 bracing on the top side of the cattle panel from post to post, just to secure the top, and also to help me secure the amazing idea that I have for covering this hay to keep the rain off of it. Let me throw up those 2x4s and then we'll get to the moment you've all been waiting for, my diabolical plan. I got the bracing up on top. There's a couple of reasons why I put bracing on the top. I'll go over those in a minute. The next thing I want to do is I actually want to go get the hay bale that I built this for in the tractor, and I'm going to try and load it and make sure everything goes smoothly. If it does, we'll go to the next part. I'm not gonna lie, that went way smoother than I actually thought it would. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the wrap that I have on it. It's biodegradable, and you know, the horses never mess with it, but I don't trust goats for anything when it comes to eating stuff, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off, pull it off, and then what you've all been waiting for. We've accomplished all the goals. We've created something that keeps the hay off the ground. We've created something that I can load the hay with my tiny tractor that can't lift up big bales. The last thing, covering it from the rain. On this structure, with the way that it's currently built, I could do a conventional framing job. I could do an arched roof like the greenhouse behind me. I could match all the barns and chicken coops in the window greenhouse with a slanted roof from high to low. And I'm not saying that eventually I won't do those if my idea fails. Was really trying to go for on solving this particular problem was something that was kind of outside the box. If people don't have access to tools and carpentry skills and different things, and they needed an idea for covering their hay from the rain and something that was quick, I think this will do it. I don't know for sure, but we're gonna try it out together. Got this from my friend Joe. He's actually on YouTube also at Conway Resale, and they essentially buy truckloads of Amazon returns and go through them, open them. They do it a lot of times on live, and they hunt for treasure and stuff to resell. A lot of times they're getting stuff that's not even open, it's brand new, it just got returned. They built a whole business around it, and it's pretty cool. Joe gave me this because I asked if he had something like this, and he said he had a bunch of them. So he gave me this thing, and some of you may have figured out what it is, but this is my diabolical idea of solving this problem, and we're gonna find out if it'll actually work or not. This right here is one of those giant umbrellas. This is my diabolical plan. I'm gonna set this umbrella up and set it on top of the hay bale and the structure I built, and it's gonna keep the hay dry. Now I got this one for free because my friend's awesome, but they usually run between $50 and $100, which is considerably less than what it would cost you to frame this and put tin on it and seal it from the rain. I thought it was pretty clever. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna try and put this on there. I may have to cut this pole because I don't know if I can get it to go down into the middle of the hay bale. I may not. We're just gonna play with it and see what we can come up with. There you go. Giant outside umbrella for covering your hay. Let's see how it works. Holy cow. I think this is actually gonna work out really cool. Let me show you my giant umbrella. There it is. My initial idea failed because in my mind, I thought it's simply going, you take the umbrella, you stick the stick down in the middle, and that secures, you know, the umbrella to the hay or something. Depending on what kind of umbrella you get, I'm using the one that I got for free. I know they have ones out there like beach umbrellas that have a wooden spike on it. That may actually work because you could drive it down through the hay. This had a really thick, like 3-inch pipe, and it was blunt on the end, so it was not going through anything. Now that I've made the modifications, this can only be used for what I'm using it for. It will not work as an outside umbrella anymore. You know, sacrifices. First obvious thing is I cut the beam off pretty flush. Once I got everything extended and everything tight, it's sitting on the stop at the top. I went ahead and put 2 self-tapping screws, which will hold it there. Essentially the crank system that was being used is no longer being used. I'm gonna flip that over on top of this, which I already test fitted. And because I could tell it was gonna work, I went ahead and cut off flush all the posts, even with the braces. Now for some reason, wind breaks this, or something catastrophic happens, with the way I built this and the framing that's there now, I could come in and do a conventional frame job, do an arched roof, and put an actual tin roof or something on it. So if this does fail, I will have a backup plan. But for now, I'm pretty excited that this project went so stinking smoothly. So I'm gonna throw this umbrella on. I'm gonna bungee cord it down with these heavy duty black bungee cords. And that's my plan to hold it down on top. Like I said, we'll come back and revisit this in a few weeks and see how it holds up. So that does it for me. I thought it turned out awesome. It's pretty secure. I think it looks a little goofy, but I actually do love it. I think Jessica's gonna love it. She actually hasn't seen it yet. The only thing left to do is to give it a good name. So from now on, this will always be known as Cafe Bermuda. Get it? Bermuda. Yeah, I know it's cheesy. Look, even Kitten George likes to hang out at the Cafe Bermuda. Hey, Kitten George. Hey, buddy. You hanging out in there? That'll probably be the place that we find him the most. Well guys, I'm heading inside to get some dinner and about to go live because it's a Sunday. God bless you. Until next time.